Welcome back to Build the Weight Loss Practice of Your Dreams, or if you're new to this podcast, welcome. We are talking today about how to proactively control your schedule and your weight loss practice for maximum efficiency. And sometimes I think practitioners don't think this is something that's possible because it's as if you're there and you just need to see patients back to back to back to back, or if there's a gap in the schedule, you just have to cope with that. That's just the way it is because you've got these set hours. But I really encourage people, especially nowadays, to take a peek at your schedule and to really make sure that it is coincides with what you need most for yourself and for your life as well. And also what will be best for the team that you have available during the different times. Now, granted, there are peak times and less peak times for appointments, but we want to make sure that you are making the most of every available hour that you have in your day. And your schedule is one of those things. There's nothing worse than being overbooked or underbooked for kind of throwing a whole wrench into things in your day. So there are some things you can proactively do. And the first thing that I encourage you to do is to really think about, okay, what days do you want to see patients? Which days are best? Which days are you in the OR if that's the case? What days do you have something going on with your children or something else that you have to take care of? And then start with that template. So you build your template out and you determine that based on when you're going to be in the office. And I like to have vacations and that sort of thing. I know it's impossible to do all the time, but before you ever get to the next year, map out when the practitioners are going to be off so that those are blocked and so that people know that, because it may be easier for them to take their vacation at the same time, that sort of thing. And also make sure that you look at the holidays and what day you're going to honor that holiday. So get that all mapped out, map out when it is you're going to be able to see patients, and make sure that those templates are set in your electronic medical record. Then I also encourage you and your team to look at exactly what type of appointments that you offer and how long those typically take to make sure that the correct period of time is being blocked. Now, I know we double book and we overbook because we have to, and we have to at times, but it's much easier to overbook, for example, in a surgeon's office, a new patient visit with a quick post-op versus having two new patients at the same time that take a lot more time. So making sure that you work through that and you even document what types of appointments take how much time, which ones can be double booked if you need to, which ones cannot be double booked. A lot of times we think that we just have to be at the whim of our schedule, and that's not always the case. If you pre-plan for that, as with anything, you'll find it's much more important. The other thing that helps is for each practitioner, have one of the team members responsible for looking at the schedule ahead of time, a whole week ahead of time, to see, is there something unrealistic that's going on with that schedule that needs to be adjusted before the week even comes, making sure that you take a look at that. And that can be really a lifesaver. When somebody really understands the schedule, there is an art to it, of course, but we want to make sure somebody's overlooking each practitioner's schedule or the practitioner themselves if you sort of feel like you have to. I encourage you to utilize the talents of your team and make sure that they have that and they take a look at it ahead of time. Another thing that's really helpful is to have online scheduling if you can. Let patients schedule online as long as the visits are very set and that sort of thing. Some practitioners aren't comfortable with that, which is fine as well. But at the very least, have your appointment reminders automated, which nearly everyone does, but if you don't, we really should have them automated. You can even pick and choose which ones are automated for a text or email to go out to remind them, or a phone call that's automated. And if there's something, let's say you're having a new patient come in and you need to verify some of their qualifications for surgery if it's not done ahead of time, or that they meet qualifications, or that you do take their insurance, that sort of thing. Having all those conversations ahead of time, that would be something different. Maybe you automate it, but someone's also assigned to kind of give that call and make sure that all that's taken care of. Always best to have all that done ahead of time. I actually prefer having them do the inquiry, make sure that all of that is taken care of, and then put them on the schedule. It also increases your percentage of from consult to surgery for surgical surgeons that are in this group, or for anyone who's listened to this. It helps with surgical and medical weight loss practices, just making sure that you're not having somebody on the schedule that you don't take their insurance or something like that. Those things are always so awkward when they happen, and we want to avoid that at all costs. So have somebody taking a look at that that and make sure that they can fill out their paperwork on time through your electronic medical record, that's reviewed, and all those sorts of things are taken care of as much as possible, particularly for new patients or those that need to have labs or something like that for their visits. So we want to make sure all that's in place. And the other thing you can do is set expectations with your patients. They want to know what to expect. Your team needs to have some predictability. So letting them know we are going to be sending you automation. So please make sure that we're whitelisted in your email, or would you prefer to receive that via text? Here's how you can actually go in and ask us questions or schedule an appointment. Make sure that you set those expectations up front. If you're doing a medical or surgical program and you have set visits at certain times, let them know when that will be. Get them all scheduled ahead of time if you can. And then also determine, are some of them going to be on site, some online? Are they all going to be one way or the other? Make sure that you have all that sort of documented out, having something easy for them to review so they know what to expect. We even give them homework lists if it's something related to surgical requirements, and it's automated through the EMR. It's really something that saves everybody so much time, and it helps eliminate miscommunication and patients who can get, upset because they weren't aware of something or they didn't feel as if they were notified. So you want to make sure of that. Make sure you also have a cancellation policy. Your time is valuable. Have a cancellation policy. Make sure patients know about that upfront. Follow through on your cancellation policy. It's something that can also then help mold the behavior into having less no-shows or cancellations at the last minute, that sort of thing. Of course, you can always make exceptions, but if you have that in place, it really does help people feeling as if they don't have to commit one way or the other. You know how it is. If they're coming in for a weight check and they feel like their weight's up, a lot of times at the last minute, something can come up that they don't show or cancel their appointment. We want to make sure they are embraced and they come in for their appointment. So you want to make sure of that. Make sure, like I say, that you know what days you're not going to be available. Try to schedule that ahead of time so that you're not having your team constantly rescheduling a lot of patients. That's really very helpful. The other thing you can do is create an active waiting list. So that if you do have a gap in your schedule, you've got someone on the waiting list, somebody needs to get in, you can call them, get them right in, and maximize the use of your time, your team's time, and of course, your schedule. So those are just some really helpful tips for managing your schedule. Some of them you're, I'm sure, using, maybe all of them. But a lot of times when I talk about when there's a schedule that's out of hand, some of these things haven't been addressed. So I thought it was a good time to just bring it up. Good food for thought, good things to discuss with your team or have them watch this as well, and then implement it in your practice so that you can have a bit more of a predictable schedule as much as we possibly can. So I hope you found this helpful. If you aren't subscribed to this podcast, please subscribe. I would love to have you as an additional subscriber. And if I can help in any way, reach out to me, Carol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. And I'd be happy to answer any questions or just hop on a call if there's something you want to talk through. And of course, we just revamped the website, so visit that if you want. We actually have it. You can get there through my name, Carol, Karol, Clark, CLARK, .com. That will get you there as well. So anyhow, I hope this has been helpful, and I can't wait till we get to talk next, or that you can utilize this and hopefully make a difference in some way in your practice. Take care.